What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Lunch with the Clydesdale. It's lunchtime. Time to take a break from your work day, hang out, sit around, chat a little bit about what's going on in sports, entertainment, and the CrossFit space. Hope everybody's having a great Friday, heading into the weekend. What's going on, Craig? Good to see you here. It's start time. It's going into the weekend. I need to get a bullseye going into the weekend. I need one. Here we go. I knew it when I left my hand. Dang. A little low. Low and to the right. There we go. What's up, Lido? What's going on, Jody Lynn? Lido, our European correspondent, how is the French Throwdown going? Well, we got the leaderboards up. I have them right here. Let's talk about the French Throwdown. Bam, here we go. I made my picks last night, and I actually picked Bronislaw Alinkowicz to get a spot, and Georges Karavis to get a spot. Those are my two picks. Braun's doing awesome. He is currently leading the French Throwdown, followed by Nika Maseradze. Moritz Fiebig, who already has a ticket, is in third. Eric Zuckold is in fourth. And Fabian Hermans is in fifth. My pick of Georges Karavis is down in 12th. He's going to have to make a big comeback in order to... oh, man. Lido corrected me. Karavis didn't finish in the top 1%, though, so can't qualify for the games. All right, there we go. So I'm going to be wrong on that pick. But hopefully Braun gets a ticket to the games, and then I'll get that one. But I also noticed that Enrico Zanoni, who finished in the top 11 of the online. Whoops, sorry. I don't know what happened here. Need to reload. Anyway, Zanoni finished in the top 11. He did not participate in the French Throwdown. So he is at the bottom of the leaderboard with a 0 score, as he is not there, so we don't have to worry about that. It looks like he thought he did enough in the online in affiliate semifinals to make it. So he's just going to go with that. So there we go. Lido says, did Braun do master semis as well? Would be amazing if he qualified for both. He did do master semis. And he did qualify for sure. So he could be one of the athletes that's done both. Last year was the first time that opportunity even was a possibility because of the split. And we did have one athlete do both last year. So we'll see how many end up doing both this year. So anyway, that's on the men's side. We saw that. So Braun is leading. Yeah. And then it's up for grabs for that second ticket for sure. If we go to the women's side, we have, and my picks were Miriam Van Roer and Lucy McGonigal to get their tickets. And so right now we have Leah Storen in first. Are all the scores in before I get too far ahead of myself? Let me make sure. Not all the scores are in. So this is going to be tainted a bit. No? Yes? That's event 5. Okay. Sorry, I blew it up. I am here fumbling away. Okay. So we do have all the scores, and I don't know if they're calculated in yet, but it looks like they were. So anyway, I had Mir Van Roer and Lucy McGonigal qualifying out of the French. And right now we have Leah Storen in first, Joanna Skindage in second, Lucy McGonigal in third, Elisa Fuliano, who we know cannot qualify for the games, in 4th, and Miriam von Rohr in 5th, with Claudia Gluck in 6th, another strong contender for one of those tickets. Taylor Howe in 7th, Connie Eastby in 8th, Emma Fouchereau in 9th, and Morgane Thiesens in 10th. So that's, and yeah, Lito, last year, Andrea Pinheiro did both. So she was the first athlete to be able to do both the Masters and the Elite individual in the same year. So that's what we have right now in the top 10. I don't think I tried to find event 1 online and I could not find it. I did see event 2 and event 3, but they are available out on YouTube if you want to go check those out. But yeah, so that is well underway. Day 1 is in the books, and we'll see what happens throughout the weekend and who gets their tickets. So there's that. We have so much going on. Lido confirms event 1 was outside and was not broadcast. I tried to find something and I couldn't find anything, so I assumed it was one of those deals. So while all that is going on, we have the WFP going on as we speak. The challengers just completed their heats of their 2 heats each of the challenger division, and now the pros are about to take the floor. They have not yet, but just to give you a quick peek in at what's going on with the WFP, and this is only available on their website. This is the floor that is it's part turf, part rubber mat. The finish line is down here. The rig is right here. The first event actually takes you outside. So they actually come through the rig, around this, behind this, the stands, and out this open door here, and to a 600-meter run. And then they come back in another door over here, come down this side into the rig, and do their ring muscle ups and their snatches. On the first 4 rounds are done in these 4 boxes. The final and 5th round is done down at the end of the floor. To finish, and it looks like here they are actually starting the pro qualifier heat. The graphics have been really good. You can see here that the people are introducing themselves as they take the floor. They actually had a graphic that showed the workout in detail, moving like a chess piece along the workout area, so you could see what it looked like and how the layout would be for the workout. So the graphics have been amazing. They're making it more look like a professional event. Sarah Cooper says the little triangle guy doing the movements is funny. Yeah, I would agree. It seemed a bit gimmicky to me, but the people I'm talking to really liked it. I liked that they explained the workout using a graphic of some sort. It just looked like a lot of business presentations that I've seen at my job using those types of things. So I like when they explain the workout. I think Lito said the floor looks like Rogue, and it does. The lighting looks like Rogue. It's very dark around the stands and bright on the floor once they get going. So it's very much like Rogue in that way. What it does is it kind of highlights the individuals, and you cannot see the crowd as much. So it's really hard to tell if the crowd is full, how full the stands are, because of the way the lighting is. You can't really see that. And I don't know if that's a strategic decision or they just like the look from Rogue, so they went with it. I don't know. And this is the first time they've highlighted the athletes behind the rig before the start. In the Challenger division, all the lights were on. So this is very odd and very new as they're doing the pro thing. Whoa. So apparently they're lighting up the floors in different colors as they start. That was new and different. And there they off on their 600-meter run. I think the coverage has been very good. Some things I really liked about it. They follow them out. There's people outside filming the run. You can see it all outside. In addition to that, when there are many more wide shots of the floor as opposed to close-ups, which I really, really appreciate. When they get closer to the athlete, they actually keep a couple other athletes in frame. So even when they do what we would consider a close-up, they're keeping other athletes in frame so you can see more than one athlete at a time. Lido says, hides the lack of spectators. I don't. So one of the things I'd realized that when you have it on your own website and not on YouTube, there's no viewer count. So we don't know how many people are watching from the public. Now I'm sure they can get that behind the scenes. And then when you darken the spectator area, we can't really see how many spectators are in the stands. So those are two things that make it really hard for us to comment on unless you have someone there. I do have a photographer, videographer there at the event right now, taking shots. And it's my guy that's been doing everything for me over the last several months. He's eCaptures on Instagram. So if you see any of his pictures, make sure to follow him and give him a like and all of that stuff. But he's going to give me some details as to how many people are in the stands, what's it look like, what are the differences he noticed from this and other events in person. So we'll see. Sarah says, in no way for a random person to stumble upon the feed like they may on YouTube. That has been echoed a lot. I think Hiller showed a video on Savon last night where Mr. Beast was talking about why he never leaves YouTube, even though he's so popular and has such a large following. He could do everything on his own website and get his own advertising dollars and make more money. And he explained that he's still growing when he's on YouTube, and he would lose that opportunity if he wasn't, because YouTube is preloaded on phones. People already have it. They don't have to make any new steps to do that. So I thought when the most popular guy in the world on YouTube is saying he would never leave because it offers like free advertising and free growth to his company and business, why would you leave there? And I think it makes an excellent point as to why doing it on your own website may be a mistake. Now, the coverage has been great. I will give them kudos on how good it looks. But we'll see. Hopefully we can see the crowds later. And then I'll get some info from a guy later this weekend, and we'll talk about that for sure on Sunday night, what he's seeing in person there at the event. But yeah. And I don't want to leave this up forever. I don't want to get in trouble with anybody. But yeah, that's the first heat of the pro division. Those are the challengers that did the online qualifier and made it in. And so they're trying to get their points and earn the pro card. I do like this concept. I do have to tell you, I love the idea that you have these 20 people that have something, and you have this other group of people that want it, and that they have to earn points to compete against these people to get it. I like that concept. It's simple. These guys have the thing. These guys want the thing. These guys have to fight to get the thing. I like that. I like that as a concept. It's much simpler than this CrossFit season, we're trying to explain every other day. These seems to get changes, and I don't know. I don't want to go off on the tangents and stuff, but the fact that NorCal is now saying, "Hey guys, if you missed your opportunity, come talk to us. We have spots available." Oh my gosh. And we're going to talk about this on Sunday night, but athletes plan their season based on what they thought, what was scheduled, and now everything's changing, and the ones that planned are getting screwed by the people that missed their opportunity, and now we're going to have to try to get another way in. I think that has got to get buttoned up for next year. This like fly by the seat of your pants season crap has got to change. And I think that's where something like the WFP is doing better than the CrossFit Games season. Now, I wish they would be more transparent as to what they're doing, and they would brag about the things that they are offering that CrossFit isn't right now, and they're not doing that, and it's making it really hard to follow them and to give them a ton of support when things pop up all the time. But their season's simple. You have this stop, you have the next stop in Mesa, and you have a championships in Copenhagen. And those are your opportunities to earn points, top 20 in points, get a pro card. There you go. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. This CrossFit season's getting more and more convoluted as we move forward. And to be in a week where you have Dave Castro saying, well, we didn't even check any of the videos for the teams. What? And I just hope the cluster doesn't continue on into the elite part of the season. They've got to check videos. And I don't want to get into that. A lot of people have been hammering that home, and I agree with almost everything that they're saying. You cannot let those bad standard of movements move forward, or it's never going to get better. Never going to get better. And that is one thing the WFP did better. They actually penalized people who had bad standards of movement, and they got the people that needed to be there to this point in the season. So you got to give kudos to them. The only other thing I will say about the WFP broadcast that I don't like so far is, let me go. I'm gonna put it back up here for a second. So the one thing, and I have it blown up so you can't really see. So here we go. You cannot stop. You cannot pause. You cannot rewind the broadcast. And so with that, if you don't catch this live, you have to wait for them to move it to YouTube and then watch the replay. I think that is a misstep too. Just like Sarah brought up that you're not going to get the accidental person coming over and watching it from YouTube. Now you can't even, like, if I have a meeting or I have to go somewhere in my day and I have to leave the live feed, I can't go back and rewind to watch the event. And Sarah brings up another point. No live chat. I don't know what the reasoning behind a lot of this is, but if it's to hide from being critiqued, if it's to hide to being critiqued, like no count on views, no live chat, darken the stand so you can't see how many people are there. I hope it's not because of that. I hope they're not hiding from criticism. It is because when people are talking about what you're doing, that's what makes you more popular, more successful, gets eyes on your product. They're doing a lot of cool things, but there's a lot of things that are missing. And yes, Lito, you're joking. You can't rewind. I'm not joking. As you can see on my screen, I have it pulled up here. I don't know if you can see my cursor, but this bottom part of the screen, no matter where I float this, I can't get anything to rewind or to stop. I'm going to miss everything. I know. and that means that everybody in Europe's going to miss everything, right? The timing is just off. So everybody that's not in your time zone is going to miss the live broadcast of this, and there's no way for them to come back and rewind. That's really, really problematic. Sarah says, if that's the reason, it's effing pathetic. I don't disagree with you. That's what I'm saying. I am hoping that's not the reason why. Corey says, no live chat is a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out for them. Dave Johnson says that they said it gives them more control and options by doing it on their own site. I get that, but they didn't really spell out, other than the AI voice, what that was. And so I hope it's not all this other stuff that now we can't do a live chat. We can't rewind it. We can't see the live view count. I hope it's not that. Corey said, dude, Saxon literally said, judge us at the end of our season. If that ain't hiding from criticism, I don't know what is. You're going to get, dude, we've talked about this all week. You're in a professional sport. You want to be professional. You're paying athletes so that you can be professional. You're going to get judged just like every other professional athlete in the world, in any sport. That's just what happens. Lito said it's in the middle of everyone's working day. How are you supposed to watch it in the middle of the afternoon in the US too? Well, thank goodness my work computer has multiple screens, and I just have it off on one while I'm doing other things. That's what I do. And that's what I've done for years, even in the CrossFit stuff. So, yeah, I'm lucky that way and usually Fridays are pretty slow for us. So that I'm just lucky in that way. And I know a lot of my friends do it that way as well. So I do like the graphics. I do like that they have a running list of what place everybody's in. I did like when they introduced them out onto the floor, the graphics they used. I think all of that is really cool, but you're missing on some major components that bring people to the table to watch your event. I think you might be overreacting, Corey. Not being able to see the crowd plus the lighting effect makes it look like some Hunger Games-ish. I think that's everything. Go to a basketball game and the crowd is darkened and the floor is lit up and there's a spotlight on the floor. It's like that at a hockey game. You want the attention to be on the players on the field or on the ice or on the whatever they're playing on, the grass. And the focus not to be into the crowd. I get all that. That I was cool with. And it's just what Rogue did. Rogue did the exact same thing, and everybody applauded Rogue for that. Giving that spotlight onto the field of play. So, but anyway, I'm going to stop sharing again because I don't want to get in trouble with all that. My picks for the WFP this weekend. I made these last night. I don't need, so on the men's side, my third place pick for the podium is Colton. I think having already locked up his ticket and being able to train and not really be over exerted in the last couple of weeks at competing, I think that's going to give him an advantage. Number two, I have Jeff Adler. Adler hasn't competed much in the last year, and I think he looked amazing in the online semis. And I think he's out to prove something. He's just really, really fit right now. And then number one, I have Roman. And I have Roman just because I want it to be that way. There was all this stuff about Jeff should have lost to Roman at the games 2 years ago. And I just think the storyline that would happen if Roman beat Adler at this and what that means going forward would be very interesting for both seasons. And Roman has it did not have to do online semis, so he got a week off that others didn't get. So I'm going to pick Roman to win WFP Tour Event 1. On the women's side, I'm going with Fee to finish third. Again, locked up her ticket real early. I think that gives her a pretty good advantage going into this. I have Ariel Lowen in second, as she just was dominant in the online semi. And my winner on the women's side, no surprise, is Laura Horvat. She's not had to compete at all in the last few months. And this is her Super Bowl. She's going to come out here, and I think she's going to wreak havoc on the field. So Corey says, yes, the court is lit up more, but you can at least see the crowd. This looks like they're in an empty arena to me. It is identical to Rogue. Go back and watch Rogue. The lighting is almost exactly the same. James W. The WFP hate is unreal considering we are still in the midst of their first competition. If there's one thing about the CrossFit community, it's that there's always going to be something to complain about. I agree. I do think they're getting more hate than they deserve. I want the competition. I have been bitching about how the CrossFit season has gone for years, and we keep waiting for them to get better. They're not going to get better unless someone pushes them. Now we have someone that's willing to throw their hat in the ring and push them, and either CrossFit answers the push and comes back with something better, or WFP takes over. And either way, we have a better product at the end of the day. CrossFit, the methodology, has saved my life. Without it, I would probably be dead right now. I have been doing CrossFit since 2011. I started over 500 pounds. I am way less than that now. And I am active and able to move around where I couldn't do that a long time ago. I love CrossFit. I want it to succeed. But the sport has been stubborn, pig-headed, and not willing to change to make things better. And finally, someone has stepped into the ring to say, hey, let's see if we can do it better. We are former athletes who have ideas of how to make things better. And so we're throwing our hat in the ring, and we're doing this thing, and we're going to try to push CrossFit into a direction. CrossFit has a choice now. Do we ignore them and just go about our business? Or do we look at what they're doing and say, hey, how can we do it better? How can we get better to compete with them? And drive a stake into our territory and keep it for the long haul. And I'm hoping that they decide to do that. And Fisa Goffi just won Heat 1. And I picked her to podium, and I love that just happened. Lito says, I don't even think the lack of spectators is their fault. US-based events always struggle for spectators. Rogue was empty at Dell Diamond too. I bet the Copenhagen event in December will be packed. Corey, I don't feel like I'm bitching. I'm making an observation. Seeing the crowd react like they did at Mayhem is part of it for me. Them not going to on YouTube is bananas crazy. I think everyone can agree there. I'm not saying we can't be critical, and I'm not saying you're part of the hate. I'm saying that there is a lot of hate out there, and we talked about that yesterday. There are people that aren't even willing to mention their name in the space, and act like they don't exist. That is a really bad way to deal with this issue. If you think you are that much better than them and that you are doing this that much better, that you can just ignore the situation and not talk about them, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. Because I'm watching this, the broadcast is better. The broadcast of the event is better than what I've seen at CrossFit events. I am over the close-up crotch shots. I'm over only getting to see one athlete on the floor at a time. They have made improvements to that in this broadcast already. I am liking that way more than what we've had in the past. But there has to be a response to this. It can't be just ignore it and act like they don't exist. Them saying they expected 5,000 people to buy tickets is also insane. It may be insane, but it's a goal. They got to have goals, and they got to learn from this process as well. So I don't know. That's my 2 cents. I'm okay with saying that this needs to get better or that needs to get better with them. And like I've said, the fact that it's not on YouTube, the fact you can't rewind, the fact you can't pause is a major problem with this broadcast. But they're also doing some things really well. That's all. That's all I'm saying. I like the graphics. But yeah, I don't like that it's not on YouTube. I don't like that it's not pausable and not rewindable. I think that is a major, major mistake. But CrossFit, if it wasn't for Brian Friend and Savon and those people, we wouldn't even see a broadcast of half of the shit that's going on. And we're not as critical of them for that as we are about this. Before WFP existed, we said all the same stuff about CrossFit because they weren't doing it well enough, but there was no competition to push them. That's all I'm saying. There's enough criticism to go around to every entity in this space right now. And I love this sport and I don't want it to go away. And I want someone to do it right, or I want someone to push someone to do it right so that we have something to talk about going forward. I didn't mean for this to be a big rant day, but man. And it appears that Annika Greer's running has not gotten any better. But she did not finish last. So the last thing I wanted to talk about real quick is I did watch WFP put out another behind the scenes 2 today. It was longer than the first one. T-Bird and I went back and forth a little bit yesterday, and she said maybe they'll come out with a new one and they'll make changes. They did. This one was a little bit longer. This one actually went into some of their affiliate engagements where they went into gyms and had athletes there working out with the people, coaching the people. And they actually filmed that with them mic'd up, getting some of the back and forth between the athletes and the people in the gym. There was a scene of them celebrating one of the girls' birthdays. There was just a lot of cool stuff involved with all that. And I'm really glad that they've added that to their behind the scenes. Another key piece that was added to this one is their head of medical, Josh Hicks, was training all of the leads for all of the different areas of volunteers in CPR. So it's not just the medical team that would be certified in CPR. It was going to be all of the leads at in every area of the competition, and that they were encouraged if they saw something where medical attention was needed to go, regardless of what else you have going on or where you're at, to go to that person and give them the attention they need, and give them CPR if needed. And so I thought that was a really cool thing to highlight that they're doing, that has not been done at other events in the past. So really cool to see that attention to the safety part there. And in this one, I would give a much higher grade than the first one. This one I really, really enjoyed. There was a lot more athlete check-in stuff. Um, the locker rooms are really awesome that they're giving the athletes the touch points for them are amazing. Um, and I think they are doing a good job with any of that. And then finally, they are actually sponsored by, I don't know how to pronounce it anymore. My whole life, it was Adidas. Now I guess it's Adidas, maybe. I don't know, but they are sponsoring this. And since last year's games and seeing them in person, I've wanted a pair so bad. I just love the looks of them. I've been a Reebok guy pretty much the whole time since I started CrossFit in 2011. I take that back. I was actually CrossFitting in Nike free runs to start, and then I went to Reebok later on. And but I just purchased a new pair of Adidas, I guess is what it's called now. The Drop Set 3, and these are them. So this is the pair that I got. I love the look. I wish they came out with some cooler color waves. I think on the women's side, they did way better with the color waves than on the men's side. I think they're a little bit bland. But I wanted to try them on, and hopefully they've got the nice wide toe base. I hope so. And if they do, I will let you know. I'm getting them sometime this week. I'll try them out. And yeah, so Lito says she has the bright pink ones and that she loves them. I almost went with the highlighter of these, but they don't cut. They were out of my size. So that's why I went with these. So, Lito said that I go a half size up. I did not. They told me that they were true to size. And once you get up into I wear a size 13, and there is no 13 and a halves. I don't think. I think it goes 13, 14, and 14s have always been way too big. So yeah, see 13, and then it goes to 14, but these shoes didn't even come in a 14. So there's no way to go up. Now they have a 14 and a half, but they don't have a 13 and a half. Devesh says, actually, half size down, Adidas runs large. Well, that's cool. I don't mind if they're a little bit bigger. That would actually probably be better. Yeah, I'm super stoked. I love the look of them, and I hope that they fit well. But I've wanted to try them. And I saw the women's pink ones. Bethany was wearing them at the games, and I love the look of them there. And I think Haley had the yellow ones on. So yeah, they were wearing them at the games, and then I was like, man, I got to get a pair of those. And finally, I pulled the trigger this morning, and they'll be here next week, and I can try them out. Can't wait. But yeah, so that's going to be my new workout shoe, maybe, if I like them. The only ones I've liked other than Reeboks are the Rad runners. And so I've worked out in those. They're pretty stable to work out in, even though they're runners. But they're a little bit thin on my toe box. And so if it's much more than a 45-minute workout, like my feet swell and then I'm hurting. And I got to get them off and wear something else home. So, yeah, stoked to get these. They're on a 20% off sale right now if you're looking for new shoes. So there's all that. But they are sponsoring the World Fitness Project, and Heat 2 of the ladies has just kicked off. They're on their first lap. And this heat includes Andrea Solberg, Kerstetter, Flores, Maddie Sturt, Danny Spiegel, Emma Lawson, Amy Kringle, Brooke or Sydney Wells, I don't know which one, Lucy Campbell, and Ella Wilkinson. Kenneth says, never heard anything bad about Tier, but they are pricey. The problem with Tier for me are the backs of the shoes, the heel, go up too high and rub into my Achilles. And maybe it's just the design of my foot, but I could not handle that at all. I wore Tier. I got a free pair volunteering once, and I only wore them for a half a day, and I have never worn them again because they were digging into my Achilles so bad. And that's what I didn't like about the X10s. I think they were called the Reebok X10s that were a little bit higher than their traditional shoe. Yeah, I don't want anything up on my foot. I like a low top. No 3/4, no high top. I want a full low top. D Reed says Tier lifters are fantastic. Yeah, I haven't even worn lifters in probably 6 or 7 years. After I hurt my back, I got rid of like all of the extra stuff. I stopped wearing lifters. I only wear a belt when I get really heavy, just to kind of cool my motor a little bit so I don't overdo certain things at my age. Devesh says, I've had one pair of Tier. The entire sole came off. The glue let go. Maybe it's a defective pair, but never had that happen with any other training shoe. Yeah, that would pretty much derail any thoughts of me buying again. The X look like a 3/4 top, and I never bought them for that reason. I got a free pair of those too, for judging at Rogue. And yeah, they were actually pretty comfortable, but they were heavy. Like I would never, ever work out in them. They were super heavy and they were super high, and I didn't really like that. So the only time I wore them, I would wear them untied and just kind of like go get the mail and different stuff. So, and Kenneth says, oh, that's the worst. I had Nikes that did that. I bled every time. It was awful. Corey's about to buy another pair of Savage ones. Yeah. I don't like the looks of the Savage ones. They may be comfortable as hell. But man, I want look and comfort. So that's why I'm trying these Adidas for that, because I love the look, and if it feels good, I'll do both. Lido would like to get Savages, but VAT and shipping to the UK is insane. I'm about halfway through Hiller's video with Hip and Steel, and it's super good. Yeah, I can't wait to watch that. I know David Hippensteel pretty well. And I know that he was seriously upset with Hiller for a long time. So the fact that they actually got together, I'm really anxious to see how that goes. I know the Savage ones are like the Nano 2s. I don't like the looks of the Nano 2s. I was a bigger fan of Nano 3, Nano 4, 6, 9, not 6, 5, 9, 5, 9. I don't know. Somewhere in there. So Ken, you're talking about the Adidas. I can't wait. I love the look of them. Jay Birch, when did the pronunciation change? Yeah, I said when I was introducing that I bought the pair that in my whole life they were Adidas, and now apparently they're Adidas. So much has changed in my 55 years on this planet. That's just another one. Hip and Steel is like Hiller's fun uncle now. And Ken is like, that actually is the correct way to pronounce Adidas, Birch. Yeah, maybe we just pronounced it wrong for way, way too long. Lido, I've got 2 pairs of Nano 2s and love them. So what's funny is like I never had a Nano 2. I've heard they're super comfortable, but my first ever pair of CrossFit shoes were a Nano 3. And I love them. I love that rubber cage for the 3s and the 4s. And I was really into that. My buddies like that just started a little bit before me in CrossFit got the Nano 2s and they love them and they didn't want anything else after that. So man, shoes are like Chinese restaurants. Everybody has a favorite and you're really loyal to your favorite. Jeff Birchfield, I'm really liking the Rad V2. Andrew Sten, wow, Nano 2s were the best. I just missed it. Like literally, I was CrossFitting in Nike free runs forever. And I never actually got, by the time I got to where I needed a pair of real CrossFit shoes, the 3s were out. So Ken is correcting me. It's the Savage ones that are beautiful. I just don't find them beautiful. Sorry. You also said Nike, not Nike, or Nike, not Nike. Yeah, that's changed multiple times. If you've ever watched the movie Air, like the whole logo thing with Nike and everything, like oh my gosh, it's at the very end of the movie. If you've never seen it, Ben Affleck's character is Phil Knight, and he talks about how he came up with the logo and how much he spent for it. And the person who did it for the money that he got, I think it was like $300. And now it's like one of the most recognizable logos in the world. And Phil Knight hated the name Nike. He wanted it something else, which was really convoluted. But he was talked into it because it's the god of war. My mythology is not great. Wow, so many. We Americanized it. Kenneth, I love my free runs. I actually ran in free runs until probably three years ago. And then Reebok came out with a really good running shoe that I really like. That's it. Thanks, Clock. Nike is a translation of the Greek word for victory. There we go. Ares is the god of war. There we go. Looks like we have Adidas Gate on our hands today. Yep. Transliteration? Is that different than translation? You guys are educating me today. All new stuff. We got the second heat of the women pro division going down at WFP. And Amy Kringle is currently leading that heat. No surprise with the 600-meter runs. Lucy Campbell is right behind her. But yeah, there we go. Beard is awesome, by the way. Yeah, it's really, this is about as fluffy as I've ever let it get. I'm trying to decide if I just want to keep the fluff going for a little while and just see how it kind of gets out there, or if I'm going to trim it up at all. No, Kenneth, you did not miss Colton. The men have not gone yet. The women are going currently. The challengers went this morning, and now the pro division are going in the women, and the pro division men will go after this. But as we talked about, the one thing with this live stream is you cannot, one, there's no chat available. Two, there is no way to rewind it or pause it. So if you miss it live, you miss it. Clock. No, Nike was not a goddess. The word means simply victory. Nike Athena was a common description of Athena in her warrior mode. Wow, I am learning so much. Lito says it's not a translation, as Nike is the original Greek word. Translation would be if they'd called it victory. And Birch, I noticed that you've got a bougie gym going on now. I like the OG war tent, mash tent in the backyard, man. Kenneth says I should do an Old Testament beard like Rory and Rich had that one year. I don't know if I can go that long. Man. Yeah, we talked about it. It is a huge miss streaming on YouTube. They are doing some really cool stuff with this stream. I will say that. So I want to give credit where credit is due. The shots are better than what I've seen in CrossFit competitions. The close-ups are not so close you can't see anybody else. You can actually see some other people on the floor when they get close up. There are more wide shots so you can see the whole field and where everybody is. The graphics have been really, really good. But, however, not having a chat and not being able to rewind is a big miss. Big, big miss. But it looks really good. I'm just not sure anybody will see it, or as many people will see it. But we'll never know because there are no view counts on this either. That's one thing that they get to keep to themselves, because in YouTube, they put the view count with the video. They don't do this on their website. So we can't see how many people are actually watching. And Jason Bourne, you came in late, buddy. We talked about the hip and steel thing about 10 minutes ago, but I have not seen it yet. Corey's about halfway through, and I'm going to jump on it here in a little bit. So I don't know if the good outweighs the fact that they're not on YouTube. I don't think it does. Because my guess is they could still do the same graphics and they could do the same shots. The only thing they would lose at this that I can figure out is the privacy of how many people are viewing and the AI translation of the voices. Yeah, always go YouTube. Yeah, if you saw the Mr. Beast clip that Hiller shared on Savan yesterday, it is the most popular man in the world saying why you should never leave YouTube. And who's going to disagree with the guy who does it better than anybody else? So, anyway. Lito says AI translation was so unnecessary. Just have the same stream in the original language, also stream on YouTube. Yeah. Yeah, you could put up multiple channels streaming the same feed with different voices. WFP disagrees. And Lito says it's your first event. Put it on freaking YouTube for F's sake. Yeah. And we talked about it. I hope and pray that they're not doing this to hide their numbers. I hope they are not doing this to hide their numbers, but it is appearing that may be what is happening, because you can't see the view counts, the lighting in the arena, you can't see the crowd. But I have a photographer there this weekend and videographer, and I'm going to get details as to like how full were the crowds. I'll have that information on Sunday Night CrossFit Talk when we get into this a little bit deeper with Carolyn and Jamie. So yeah, we're going to talk about all this. We'll talk about the French Throwdown. French Throwdown's done for the day. We went over their leaderboard earlier in the show. So, and Jay Birch is promising us some MASH tent workouts this weekend, maybe. Devesh, fake the numbers to get more investment. It's possible. They're afraid of Sevon's chat crew warping the attitudes of viewers. I am hoping that's not the reason, but I bet you that is part of it. It's amazing WFP put all this together so quickly, unless they were in the works prior to last year's games. I assume the idea started after the tragedy. It depends on who you ask and when you ask them. I've asked Will this in person. He said that this idea was going prior to that, and it's just morphed into different things along the way. And then I've heard other people, like event coordinators, say they didn't even know about it until well after the tragedy. So don't know. Pedro and Johnny were fun as hell covering the French Throwdown. Yeah. Can't live scared. Can't live life scared. Kenneth, that's what WWE does with WrestleMania attendance, always finds a way to be a new record. Yeah, why not? So with that, I'm already late to come back from lunch. So time for you knuckleheads to get back to work. I will see you guys Sunday night on Sunday Night CrossFit Talk. We will recap all of WFP this weekend and all the things that we see and didn't see. We will also break down the French Throwdown and who got their tickets, plus whatever else comes up, like can people do a burpee correctly? Can people do a GHD correctly? All of that stuff. With that, guys, we will see everyone on Sunday Night CrossFit Talk this week. Later.